A man took away a girl's dignity forcefully after taking her father's own. Before we dive into the story, tell us where you're watching us from, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. John lived in Lagos with his wife and their little child. Life was very hard for them. Every day was a struggle to find food to eat. John and his wife were once rich. They once had a good life, money, food, comfort, and friends. But everything changed after he lost his former job and his small business collapsed. Slowly, all the money they had finished. Their friends left them, and they were left alone to face poverty. John opened a small mechanic shop where he repaired cars. He worked hard, but the money he made was too small. Sometimes, they could only eat once a day. The worst part of their struggle was their child. The child was sick and needed surgery. The doctor had told them that the child must be operated on soon. But the money for the surgery was very high, far more than what the man could ever make from repairing cars in Lagos. Every day, the man worried about his child. He thought about the pain the child was going through. He thought about how his wife was crying at night. He thought about how he had failed as a man. This made him desperate. He prayed and hoped for a miracle. One afternoon, while working at his shop, a customer drove in with his car. The man welcomed him and started working on the car. The customer watched while the man repaired it. They had a normal conversation, nothing serious. When the work was done, the customer left. Days later, the same customer came again. This time, he had something different to say. He told the mechanic about a big company in Abuja that needed someone to repair their cars. The customer said it was a huge deal and he would make a lot of money. Enough money to change his life. Enough money to take care of his family. Enough money for his child's surgery. He was shocked. He could not believe such a big opportunity was coming to him. He thanked the customer in his heart and promised to think about it. The customer gave him his contact and told him that whenever he was ready, he should call him and a driver would come to take him to Abuja. That evening, he went home and told his wife everything. At first, the wife refused. She was scared. She did not trust the idea of her husband traveling far away with someone they barely knew. But he begged her and explained how this money could save their child, bring them out of suffering, and how it could give them back their life. After much thinking, the wife agreed. On the day of the journey, he called the customer. The customer sent a driver to go pick him up. On the way to Abuja, he became thirsty. He asked the driver to stop by the road so he could buy water. But the driver quickly gave him a sealed bottle of water from inside the car. He drank the water, not suspecting anything because it was sealed. Moments later, he began to feel dizzy and dozed off. When he finally opened his eyes, he was in a dark room. His hands and legs were tied. Fear entered his heart, he struggled and cried, but no one came. He felt his phone in his pocket and quickly texted his wife. But before he could say much, two men entered. They took the phone from him and beat him mercilessly. He shouted for help, but there was no one to save him. Minutes later, 6 men came into the room. Among them was the same customer who had promised him the Abuja job. That was when he realized he had been tricked. The men attacked him. They abused him. They violated him. They tortured him. This terrible suffering went on for 21 days. Every day, the men came in, and every day they abused him. His body was bruised, his spirit was broken, and his mind was shattered. He cried endlessly, praying to be saved. On the 21st day, after they had finished abusing him, they blindfolded him and carried him into a car and dropped him on a lonely street. He was weak, almost lifeless. By that time, his wife had already gone to the police. She had shown them the message her husband sent before his phone was taken away. The police had been searching for him ever since. Luckily, they found him on the street that day. When they saw the condition of his body, they rushed him to the hospital. He had wounds everywhere. His face was swollen, his skin was torn, his strength was gone. The police contacted his wife. She came to the hospital crying, holding her husband's weak hands. After days of treatment, he was able to speak again. The police asked him questions, and he described everything he could remember. He told them about the customer. With this description, the police tracked the man and caught him at the airport while he was trying to run away from the country. The man was taken to court. John and his wife believed that justice would finally come. But on the day of the trial, the lawyer who was supposed to defend the mechanic was threatened. Out of fear, the lawyer kept quiet. Without strong evidence and without the lawyer's defense, the wicked customer was set free. John was broken. The pain in his body, the pain in his heart, and the shame he carried were too much. Even after leaving the hospital, he could not sleep. He had nightmares every night. He cried every day. He lost his will to live. Not long after, he died from the trauma of all he went through. He died carrying the sorrow of being betrayed, used, and denied justice. His wife and child were left alone in the world, broken and in tears. After the mechanic died, his wife was left broken. The house felt empty. The nights felt longer. The mornings carried nothing but hunger and sadness. She woke up every day with only one thought: how to feed her child and how to survive one more day. Her little daughter was still very sick. The doctor had said she needed surgery. But the surgery cost money that the widow did not have. She carried the burden alone. She tried to sell vegetables by the roadside. She washed clothes for strangers. She begged in silence, but no matter what she did, it was never enough. Every time her child coughed or cried in pain, her heart tore into pieces. She would remember her late husband. She would remember how he died trying to provide money for their child's treatment. She would cry into her pillow at night, asking God why life had become so cruel. But hope came in an unexpected way. A charitable group heard about her suffering. They decided to help. They paid for her daughter's surgery. The surgery was done in a private hospital. The little girl survived. Slowly, she became healthy again. The widow saw this as a miracle. She thanked God every day. Even though she was still poor, she was grateful that her child was alive. Years passed. The little girl grew into a beautiful teenage girl. She was tall, slim, and graceful. Her skin glowed like polished wood, and her eyes carried a softness that touched hearts. Teachers loved her in school. Her mother loved her more than anything in the world. The girl worked hard in her studies. She knew her mother had suffered greatly. She wanted to make her proud. But one thing always haunted her. In school, when her classmates spoke about their fathers, she could not say much. Other children spoke proudly about how their fathers bought them gifts, drove them to school, or guided them in life. But she could only speak of her mother. Every time she mentioned only her mother, her classmates became curious. They asked questions. They wanted to know about her father. She would go home and ask her mother about him. She had asked many times before, but her mother always avoided the truth. The woman was afraid to tell her child what had happened to her father. She did not want her daughter to live with trauma. She wanted to protect her from the darkness of the past. But one evening, when the girl was old enough to understand pain, the mother finally told her everything. She told her about her father, how he had been tricked with a fake job in Abuja, how he was drugged, kidnapped, and locked in a dark room. She told her how he was tortured, abused, and destroyed for 21 days. She told her how the wicked customer who pretended to be a friend was the mastermind of it all. She told her how her father was dumped like a piece of trash, rescued by police, but later denied justice in court. The teenage girl cried uncontrollably. Her heart was broken. She could not believe human beings could be so wicked. She cried for her father, whom she never really knew. She cried for her mother, who had carried the pain alone. And in her heart, she swore one thing: she would get justice for her father. Life continued. The girl focused on school. But the world had a cruel twist waiting for her. One day, a man began to show interest in her. He was older, richer, and carried himself with confidence. At first, she did not know who he was. He offered her rights. He gave her small gifts. He spoke to her with smiles. But behind those smiles was darkness. The man was the same customer who had destroyed her father. Time had passed, but he was still free. He was still powerful, moving around like nothing had happened. He saw the teenage girl and desired her. He wanted to destroy her too. One day, his evil plan came to pass. He lured her into his trap. He molested and raped her. He stole her dignity just as he had stolen her father's life. The girl was shattered. She cried bitterly. She felt dirty. She felt broken. She went home and told her mother everything. The mother could not believe it. Her body shook with rage and pain. The same man who had destroyed her husband had now destroyed her daughter. This time, the case was taken to court. The man tried to use the same tricks he used years ago. He tried to silence the lawyers. He tried to buy the judges. He tried to intimidate everyone. But this time, the story was different. The girl was determined. She stood strong. Her mother stood beside her. They found a lawyer who was fearless. The lawyer was not moved by threats. He was not moved by bribes. He was determined to fight for justice. The court sessions were long and painful. The man's influence was strong, but the truth was stronger. Evidence came to light. Witnesses spoke. The girl told her story with courage. The wicked man was finally cornered. The judge gave his verdict. The man was guilty. Guilty for the destruction of the mechanic years ago. Guilty for the abuse of the teenage girl. Guilty for the pain he had caused the family that once trusted him. For the first time, justice was served. The man was sentenced. He was no longer free to harm anyone again. The teenage girl cried in court. This time, they were not tears of pain, but tears of victory. Her mother held her close. They both remembered the mechanic, the husband, the father who had died. They whispered in their hearts that justice had finally come, not fully, but enough to give peace. This story is more than just a story. It is a mirror of life. It is a reminder that evil exists, but courage can defeat it. It is a reminder that wicked men may escape for a while, but truth will always catch them. If this story touched your heart, do not just listen and walk away. Share it. Tell others. Stand against evil wherever you see it. And let the world know silence helps the oppressor, but your voice can set the captive free. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications for more amazing stories.